Next, we're going to see again, we have to come back to the first place. So we clearly mentioned DNA molecule is responsible for the inheritance. So it can provide codes, information. This information, finally, we can find on almost all organisms. Now, we are trying to see what is the outcome of this information. If they have information, what is the outcome? They have a genetic information. This genetic information is written on a specific code. What is the outcome of the codes? For example, to understand this, let's take a computer codes. So different codes can be created using different algorithm in computers. We call languages sometimes. So like example, Java, C++, Oracle, like these kind of languages, they have a special codes and they can write a long codes order sequence. What is the outcome? So when someone is created a code, what is the outcome? Now outcome may be many different ways. Let's say simple ways, maybe app. So we are using app. So this app is created with the codes. Okay, now we are going to learn in similar way if the DNA has code, what actually this code giving out. For example, if this cell has a code, what is this outcome of the code? If we decode or if the DNA molecule provide code, what is the outcome? Right, so this is a DNA molecule. So we learned it has a codes written with the 4 letters ATCG. Now we're going to see what these codes make at the end. So these codes responsible to make protein. So very important thing, codes make the proteins. Now how we can understand this? So we can understand like this. The DNA molecule has codes. This code make different proteins. Different proteins finally make the organism. And also function. Structure and function. So we can say structure and function, right? Structure and function. So structure and function of organism made by the proteins, and proteins are coded from the DNA molecule. Now we can understand again, if DNA molecule change, protein change, protein change, structure change, function change. So we can bring the variations, we can bring the differences if DNA molecule change, protein change, and then structure and function change. Right now we're going to further understand this code, how these codes are created and how these codes are form different proteins. Okay, now to understand that, we are coming to a very important thing, that is proteins. Now proteins are made out of amino acids. These are amino acids. And we know that there are 20 amino acids in almost all organisms. 20 amino acids. Now you can again understand, if English alphabet consists of 26 letters, so these 26 letters, if it is similar to the amino acids, we know that many different books are written, millions of books, billions of books we have with 26 letters, only 26 letters. Only 26 letters, we have a millions of billions of books. So if we collect all the books in this world, different books, probably we can find a billion different books, but they all write with 26 letters. Then we can take the example to the amino acid. 20 amino acid can make many proteins. 20 amino acids can make many different proteins. How? It's like this. So there is a one amino acid, there is another amino acid, another amino acid, another amino acid, like this. Amino acid joined together. So when these amino acids join together, it can make a protein. Let's say this is amino acid 1, this is amino acid 7, this is amino acid 20, this is amino acid 19, this is 2, 8 or 2, and 7, like this. So they have an order, special order to make this protein. One amino acid, one amino acid, one amino acid, one, like this. Different amino acids can join together to make the proteins. Okay, now we are coming to the other side, the DNA molecule. Now this DNA molecule should have the code to make this protein. So we're going to see how this code created on the DNA molecule now. To understand that, we have to again take A, T, C, G. So we have 4 nucleotides, A, T, C, G. We want to create codes for the 20 amino acids. If we can create codes for 20 amino acids, then we can make any proteins. But the challenge is we have only 4 letters. We have 4 letters to make the 20 codes. Four letters, 20 codes. Now, how we solve the problem? I have 4 letters, but I need 20 different codes from the 4 letters. So if we take one letter at a time, for example, I take A. I can give codes for one amino acid. So I take T. I can give code for one amino acid. I can take C. I can give one amino acid, and I can get G, one amino acid. So I'm ended up with only 4 amino acids. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is unsuccessful because I cannot give codes for rest of the 16 amino acids. Okay, then I'm going different method. I'm going to do different method. Different method is I'm taking 2 letters. So if I take 2 letters, this is a 1 letter. I'm going to get 2 letters. For example, A, C, G, T. So I can keep on writing all the possible combinations. So if I write all the possible combination, how many I can write? Now we need a mathematical formula to find all the combination. One way is we can take a paper and we can write all the combinations. Second method is we use mathematical models to find the combinations. Okay, just to save the time, we try to use mathematical formula. Now, in mathematical formula, how I can calculate all the possible combination? I have 4 nucleotides, and I give 2 combinations. So if I give 2 combinations, I can write it 4 to the power of 2. Then I can find all possible combination. Now I have ended up in possible combination 16. 4 times 4 is 16. Now here I had a 4, now I have a 16. This is unsuccessful, this is unsuccessful. So I can't use 2 letters to give codes. I can't use 1 letters to give codes. I have one side 20 amino acid. They are looking for codes on DNA molecule. Okay, then I go for 3. So what is 3? If the DNA molecule like this and this DNA molecule has nucleotide like this, this example, and if I take here A, here T, here C, G, A, T, T, A, G, C, A, like this. I'm going to take 3 now at a time. So I'm going to take 3 like this, and 3 like this, 3 like this, and 3 like this, something like this. So 3 letters represent a code for one amino acid. So I write it here. 3 nitrogenous bases provide a code for one amino acid. Now look at here. 3 nitrogenous bases provide code for one amino acid. That means this make a code for one amino acid. And this make a code for one amino acid. And this make a code for one amino acid. And this make a code for one amino acid. Now, if it is like this, we can notice we can create order of amino acid again. But now we have a still question, how many codes can be created? Let's see, as we looked before, 4 nucleotide and 3 combinations. So if you got 3 combination, this is 64. Can create 64 codes. I can create 64 codes, but I have no option because 1 is not possible, 2 is not possible, 3 gives 64, not 20. But then it is still okay, so can accept. This time we're going to accept 1, 2, and 3 letter codes accepted. And now if we look, if this 3 nucleotide give a code for one amino acid, and these 3 give a code for second amino acid, this 3 third amino acid, this 3 fourth amino acid, we can create a codes for many different amino acid. So many different amino acid can form proteins. Okay, so we are coming back to the start. Now, main aim of this lesson selection and variation, how information stored, how information passed from one generation to next generation, called inheritance. So we summarized or concluded only DNA molecule can do this. A DNA molecule can do this. Coming back to another important place, how? Because DNA molecule doing this by making proteins. Because protein can decide the structure and function of organism. So DNA molecule can store information to make the proteins. Protein can make the structure and function of organisms. Then we came to a next point. What is the codes on DNA? How these codes go into proteins? Then there are 20 proteins, 20 amino acids, and 4 nucleotides. And then we learn this is the possibility to create the codes. We take 3 nucleotides, 3 nitrogenous base, and it gives a code for one amino acid. So now what is important? The triplets of bases. So just slightly change triplet. Triplet is 3, triplet of bases, nitrogenous bases. Triplet of bases codes for amino acids. So this is very important thing, and we call this genetic code. This genetic code is same for all. That means all organism, it is same, no change. So we just say it universal. Genetic code is universal. All organism made up of 20 amino acids. All organism, they have DNA. This DNA give codes for amino acids. And amino acid decide the proteins. Protein decide the structure and function of the organism. So just to summarize, we start from organism. So this organism is unique. This organism has structure and it is also functioning. This is decided by the protein. And protein is made out of amino acids. And these amino acids, order is decided by the DNA. So DNA has a code, 3 bases, and 3 bases provide code for amino acids, and amino acids make the proteins, protein make the organism. So this is how the life existing on Earth. And this is how DNA molecule control everything of living organism. DNA goes to amino acids, goes to the proteins. Protein make the structure and function of the organism. If you want to change organism structure, the change we can find in the DNA molecule. If you change DNA, organism change. Right. I think this is the summary of the lesson. So we learn what is selection and inheritance variation, and the DNA molecule responsible for inheritance, and more about DNA molecule structure we learn, and then we learn DNA replication, and then we learn how information stored on DNA molecule. Finally, everything is controlled by the DNA molecule.